Good evening, all, and welcome to Lullaby Legends with Lack. I'm your host, Caleb Lack, and in each episode I tell one or two short stories for you to relax by, spanning the range from the dawn of civilization to the age of information. So we're going to start tonight in Thailand with a traditional kind of folk tale from there called The Speech of Parrots. Once upon a time, the chattering barbet, a colorful bird, lived in people's homes. Barbets were so intelligent that they easily learned how to speak like the people they lived with. They were thoughtful, too, and so humans and birds often spoke to one another. Alas, one day, a hungry young farmer named Sunan spied a buffalo that was wandering in the fields near his home. He was so hungry that he killed it, cut it up, and carried it back to his home, where he cooked some of the meat and hid the rest in his rice house. You see, Sunan knew this buffalo belonged to his neighbor. "Wife, children," Sunan called to his family, "we will no longer be hungry." And then he told them the story of the neighbor's buffalo. The next day, Sunan's neighbor, Kalhan, knocked on the door and said, "I'm looking for my buffalo, Sunan. I wonder if you've seen him." Sunan looked down. "No," he said, "I haven't seen your buffalo." But just then the barbet piped up. "Sunan ate buffalo last night and hid the rest in the rice house." Both men looked in alarm at the bird. But before Sunan could speak, Kalhan ran to the rice house. Sunan was close behind, and the barbet flew after them. Kalhan saw the meat. He was incredulous. "What's this?" he asked Sunan. "Oh," Sunan said casually, "I keep my buffalo meat here, but this is not your animal. This is the meat of a creature I killed long ago." Now the barbet was amazed. "No," he said, "this is the buffalo you killed yesterday. That's what you told your wife last night." Once again, both men stared at the bird. Sunan was furious, and Klahan did not know whom to believe. "Let's take this to the judge," Sunan said. "Surely no intelligent judge will take the word of a foolish bird over that of a man." "Tomorrow, then," said Klahan, "I shall meet you and your bird in court." Sunan walked towards the house, worried and angry, when suddenly he had an idea. He grabbed the barbet and placed him in a pot, and over this pot he tied a black cloth. That night the sky was bright with stars, and the light from a full moon, but inside that pot there was only darkness. And then Sunan began to beat upon the pot, first softly, then louder and louder. Inside the pot the barbet shivered. "Oh, the thunder is loud," he whispered, and cowered, for he did not like storms. Then Sunan began to drip water on the cloth so that the droplets of what felt like rain fell upon the poor barbet's colorful back. "Oh, what a dark and stormy night," the barbet quavered, and he hoped morning would come soon. Soon it did, and at dawn Sunan lifted the barbet out of the pot and put him in his cage. "We're off to court," he told the bird. In court, the judge listened thoughtfully as Klahan told his story, and then he called upon the barbet to speak. The bird stood tall. "My master killed the neighbor's buffalo and hid the part he did not eat in the rice house. He told his wife just that." Sunan began to laugh softly. "What are you laughing at?" the judge demanded. "Sorry," Sunan said. "It's just that I cannot imagine why you would listen to the word of a foolish bird." The judge glared. "Everyone knows the barbet is a highly intelligent creature." Sunan snickered. "Well, this barbet so often speaks nonsense, I sometimes forget. Go ahead, ask him anything. Ask him what last night was like." So the judge did. The barbet again stood tall. "Last night was dark and stormy. The thunder never stopped all night long." Everyone in the courtroom stared in disbelief, for they remembered the night had been beautiful and clear. Judge, said Sunan, surely you would not condemn me for a crime based on such a creature's word. The judge shook his head. No, I see you're innocent, and because this creature's word caused you danger, I order this. No longer will any people keep these birds in our homes and care for them. We will send all the Parrots away to live in the forest. And so this happened. A few months later, Sunan's Parrot was sitting in the forest when he spotted a bird much larger and brighter than he. Who are you? The Parrot asked. I'm a parrot, said the stranger. I came here from the south with my flock. We speak the language of human beings. Welcome, said the Parrot. But let me warn you, when the human beings find out that you speak their language, they will capture you and bring you into their homes. That would be fine, the parrot said. But be careful, said the Parrot. You must take care of what you say. Human beings are not always truthful and want to hear only their own thoughts. They are not interested in our wisdom. If you offer it, you may be punished. The parrot thanked the Parrot, and not much later his predictions came true. Human beings learned of the talking parrots, and they captured them and brought them into their homes. There they cared for them and fed them, just as they had once cared for the Parrots, and they taught their parrots words they hoped the parrots would say. But the parrots had passed along the Parrot's wisdom to his companion, and so it is that parrots never speak their minds. They only echo the words humans say. So that's the story from Thailand called The Speech of Parrots. And now you know why parrots only echo. All right. So our next little story also involves parrots. This comes from a short story collection by a fantastic author named Ted Chiang, and the collection is called Exhalation. Before I begin, just a little bit of background information for some of you who don't know. So in Puerto Rico, there is a large radio telescope, and its name is Arecibo. And this telescope has been kind of searching the skies for potential signs of extraterrestrial intelligence for, 45, 50 years now. So that's what Arecibo is. So when I use that word, you'll know what that means, right? So here's, again, another parrot story. And this one is called The Great Silence by Ted Chiang. The humans use Arecibo to look for extraterrestrial intelligence. Their desire to make a connection is so strong that they've created an ear capable of hearing across the universe. But I and my fellow parrots are right here. Why aren't they interested in listening to our voices? We're a non-human species capable of communicating with them. Aren't we exactly what humans are looking for? The universe is so vast that intelligent life must surely have arisen many times. The universe is also so old that even one technological species would have had time to expand and fill the galaxy. Yet there is no sign of life anywhere except on Earth. Humans call this the Fermi paradox. One proposed solution to the Fermi paradox is that intelligent species actively try to conceal their presence to avoid being targeted by hostile invaders. Speaking as a member of a species that has been driven nearly to extinction by humans, I can attest that this is a wise strategy. It makes sense to remain quiet and avoid attracting attention. The Fermi paradox is sometimes known as the Great Silence. The universe ought to be a cacophony of voices, but instead it is disconcertingly quiet. Some humans theorize that intelligent species go extinct before they can expand into outer space. If they're correct, then the hush of the night sky is the silence of a graveyard. Hundreds of years ago, my kind was so plentiful that the Rio Abajo forest resounded with our voices. Now we're almost gone. Soon this rainforest may be as silent as the rest of the universe. There was an African gray parrot named Alex. He was famous for his cognitive abilities. Famous among humans, that is. A human researcher named Irene Pepperberg spent 30 years studying Alex. She found out that not only did Alex know the words for shapes and colors, he actually understood the concepts of shape and color. Many scientists were skeptical that a bird could grasp abstract concepts. Humans like to think that they're unique. But eventually Pepperberg convinced them that Alex wasn't just repeating words, that he understood what he was saying. Out of all my cousins, Alex was the one who came closest to being taken seriously as a communication partner by humans. Alex died suddenly, when he was still relatively young. The evening before he died, Alex said to Pepperberg, "You be good. I love you." If humans are looking for a connection with a non-human intelligence, what more can they ask for than that? Every parrot has a unique call that it uses to identify itself. Biologists refer to this as the parrot's contact call. In 1974, astronomers used Arecibo to broadcast a message into outer space intended to demonstrate human intelligence. That was humanity's contact call. In the wild, parrots address each other by name. One bird imitates another's contact call to get the other bird's attention. If humans ever detect the Arecibo message being sent back to Earth, they will know someone is trying to get their attention. Parrots are vocal learners. We can learn to make new sounds after we've heard them. It's an ability that few animals possess. A dog may understand dozens of commands, but it will never do anything but bark. Humans are vocal learners too. We have that in common. So humans and parrots share a special relationship with sound. We don't simply cry out. We pronounce. We enunciate. Perhaps that's why humans built Arecibo the way they did. A receiver doesn't have to be a transmitter, but Arecibo is both. It's an ear for listening and a mouth for speaking. Humans have lived alongside parrots for thousands of years, and only recently have they considered the possibility that we might be intelligent. I suppose I can't blame them. We parrots used to think humans weren't very bright. It's hard to make sense of behavior that's so different from your own. But parrots are more similar to humans than any extraterrestrial species will be, and humans can observe us up close. They can look us in the eye. How do they expect to recognize an alien intelligence if all they do is eavesdrop from 100 light years away? It's no coincidence that aspiration means both hope and the act of breathing. When we speak, we use the breath in our lungs to give our thoughts a physical form. The sounds we make are simultaneously our intentions and our life force. I speak, therefore I am. Vocal learners, like parrots and humans, are perhaps the only ones who fully comprehend the truth of this. There's a pleasure that comes with shaping sounds with your mouth. It's so primal and visceral that, throughout their history, humans have considered the activity a pathway to the divine. Pythagorean mystics believed that vowels represented the music of the spheres and chanted to draw power from them. Pentecostal Christians believe that when they speak in tongues, they're speaking the language used by angels in heaven. Brahmin Hindus believe that by reciting mantras, they are strengthening the building blocks of reality. Only a species of vocal learners would ascribe such importance to sound in their mythologies. We parrots can appreciate that. According to Hindu mythology, the universe was created with a sound. Om. It is a symbol that contains within it everything that ever was and everything that will be. When the Arecibo telescope is pointed at the space between stars, it hears a faint hum. Astronomers call that the cosmic microwave background. It's the residual radiation of the Big Bang, the explosion that created the universe 14 billion years ago. But you can also think of it as a barely audible reverberation of that original Om. That symbol was so resonant that the night sky will keep vibrating for as long as the universe exists. When Arecibo is not listening to anything else, it hears the voice of creation. We Puerto Rican parrots have our own myths. They're simpler than human mythology, but I think humans would take pleasure from them. Alas, our myths are being lost as my species dies out. I doubt the humans will have deciphered our language before we're gone. So the extinction of my species doesn't just mean the loss of a group of birds. It's also the disappearance of our language, our rituals, our traditions. It's the silencing of our voice. Human activity has brought my kind to the brink of extinction, but I don't blame them for it. They didn't do it maliciously. They just weren't paying attention. And humans create such beautiful myths. What imaginations they have. Perhaps that's why their aspirations are so immense. Look at Arecibo. Any species who can build such a thing must have greatness within them. My species probably won't be here for much longer. It's likely that we'll die before our time and join the great silence. Before we go, we are sending a message to humanity. We just hope the telescope at Arecibo will enable them to hear it. The message is this: you be good. I love you. That's all for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this story and that you will come back for more. If you have feedback, a suggestion, or a request, feel free to reach out and let me know. Good night, sleep tight, and don't let the Knocknitsa bite.